Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So I just want to talk about this whole Demetrius Andrade interview when he calls out Errol Spence. Now, I definitely had a few takeaways from this interview, and that including the things that Andrade actually said and things that he didn't say. Now, when it comes to the things that he said, one point being the overall call out of Errol Spence Jr. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. This guy decided to move up to 160. He decided to sign with the Zone, not Al Heyman when he had the opportunity to. He already knows you have Jamal Charlo, you have Jamal Charlo on the Al Heyman side, but you choose to sign with the Zone. Even if you wanted to go the possible Eddie Hearn route, you could have pulled a Danny Jacobs, signed with the PBC, and then have Al Heyman as your advisor, and then go to the Zone and follow the route that you wanted to take. I mean, we all know when Al Heyman's your advisor, when Al Heyman's your manager, it's a lot of flexibility that you can have within your career. And Andrade clearly didn't take any of that into consideration, but he stays with a PBC guy's name in his mouth. Now, in this interview, you know, he pointed out the fact that Errol Spence fought a guy that was 2 weight classes below him. He pointed out the fact that Errol Spence couldn't stop. He didn't stop Mikey Garcia. He pointed out the fact that Errol Spence is one-dimensional. Now, those comments with itself contradict one another. One being, during this interview, you called out the man that's 2 weight classes below you, even though Errol Spence wasn't the one that called out Mikey Garcia. One contradiction. Next, you say that Errol Spence Jr. is one-dimensional, and he basically bulldozes through his opponents with his power. It's either you're an absolute fool or you just didn't watch the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight. Errol Spence was the complete opposite of one-dimensional in that fight. He outboxed the guy that he has the ability to simply bulldoze, shutting that whole thing out. My next thing with that is, when it comes to Demetrius Andrade, is why not call out the unified champ at 154? If you want to call out a guy on the PBC side, why not call out my man Jarrett Hurd? See, that's the shit that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you want to say, you know, I want to fight a champion, whatever the case may be, you had the whole issues with Charlo's, the fights that fell apart, and to my understanding, the Charlo said they don't want to work with Andrade anymore. But instead of calling out Jarrett Hurd, you call out Errol Spence. And then, to make matters worse, you pick Terrence Crawford. It got us moved to 130, 135, 140, and now 147. You pick Terrence Crawford to beat Errol Spence, but that's the man you want to fight. Like Demetrius Andrade, the shit that he says, it makes absolutely no sense. And it seems like he went on this, you know, he went into this interview with the goal to bash Errol Spence, to badmouth Errol Spence. But to me, he made himself look worse. Because if you truly believe that Errol Spence is inept, as you say he is, you think that he's going to lose to Terrence Crawford, why do you want to fight him? If you think it's an issue with fighting a man that's 2 weight classes below you, even though the smaller man called you out, why being the bigger man, Demetrius Andrade, why would you call out Errol Spence? Like, the shit, it just doesn't make any sense, man. Like, this guy, is something wrong with him. I don't really talk about Demetrius Andrade. You know, he does this little weirdo shit, and I let him stay in his lane. He's not really on my radar, but have some consistency. And normally when people say have consistency, it's like on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, or year-to-year basis. Like, Demetrius Andrade couldn't even have consistency in the same damn interview. It makes absolutely no sense. So maybe Demetrius Andrade needs to go back and just watch himself and realize the dumb shit that he says and while he's saying this stupid shit, he looks at himself and see how ridiculous he looks. And it just makes matters worse for him. Andrade, if you want to fight PBC fighters, you know what you need to do. But don't call out a man at 147 and then criticize the man at 147 for accepting the fight from a guy that called him out. And then the fact that it's honestly, the Demetrius Andrade situation is actually worse. Errol Spence Jr. has never held a belt at 154. Mikey Garcia had a belt at 140. So to put things into perspective a little bit further, it's just like it wasn't even 2 weight classes on the Errol Spence part. Man, Andrade, if you wanna be like Spence, we understand. But call out somebody at 154 like Jarrett Hurd. If that's not the case, if you're not going to be fighting the Danny Jacobs of the world, if you're never going to get the Canelo fight, we understand what happens with Billy Joe Saunders. Shit, I understand what happened with Triple G. But going around just saying idiotic shit is not going to make it any better for you. It's going to be it's just going to be an additional reason not to fight you. So, I mean, I can't make sense of anything that Andrade said in this interview outside of the fact that it was just simply stupidity. But it's Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm out.